Hi there. In previous videos with Logic Pro X, we have looked into how to configure audio, MIDI, and library for workflow improvements. Now we will take things a bit further and see how to use external synthesizers, how to store presets for those, and then also how to use outboard gear in Logic Pro X. And let's get going with Logic. In Logic Pro X, using external synthesizers and outboard gear is also supported by devices. So let's get into it and see how it is done and how to configure those to use external synthesizers and outboard gear. We'll start with an empty instrument track. So we'll create one. And here, like specifically when recalling things and synthesizers, it's easy to store it as a user batch. And I showed that in my previous session where we discussed about libraries and presets, but I'll do it here as an example as well, so that it kind of reminds you how to do it for the external synthesizers. And in order to access external synthesizer, you of course need to go into the instrument section over here and then go to Logic and Utility. And there you have an external instruments that you can select, it being a mono or stereo instrument. In this case, we will use the OBX8, so it will be a stereo instrument. And I'll basically then select it, and now it says external. And then you of course select the MIDI destination. In this case, it would be OBX8, as we have configured our MIDI correctly, and then a channel 10. And again, remind us to use the seed sheet if you have a complex setting where you have multiple devices and ports and you might not, use it so often when you need to recall them. It's good to have a seed sheet to kind of see that, how and how have you configured your external hardware and how you have done your audio and MIDI routing. So, but we knew that, and then we will go and have an audio input in. So we basically go and take the OBX8 from here. And in pretty much we are now all set in that respect. So you could also program to send a program change so that you could basically already into this, you could actually program your whatever you loved, pad or lead or whatnot. But we'll do a simple one where we basically just store the presets of this, and how it is done. Then this is now configured, so we could test it that it works. So we go over here, and then of course we go and play, and we hear that it's working fine. But now if I would like to actually save this to be recalled later on, it's advisable to firstly name the track. Like OBX8. So you name the track. You have defined your external instruments and you have configured it. Then you basically go over here and say in this library section, you go and say save. And I have already created this structure, and it is in your music folder, your audio music app badges and instruments. And from there, then you can create your own folders to kind of for your own taste. So I have my synth folder and I have all the other synthesizers already configured there. So now I would store an OBX8 into it so that later I can just recall it from my user patches and it's easy peasy. So now it has been saved, and now I have my patch over there. So if I now delete the track and I would need to recreate it, I could of course already go it from here, but then I just create it as an empty, and then I go into the my library, my user section, my synth, and then I recall the OBX8. Then I can play. So this is basically how you can store the presets for your external synthesizers as user batches and recall them easily. We can also, you can actually recall quite complex user batches, and we will do that later on. But now we will do this simple exercise with external synthesizers and outboard gear, which leads us to the outboard gear. So if you would like to now use the Lexicon reverb effect as an external outboard gear, how do we do that? No, well, in audio effects section, you of course right click it in order to get this menu, and you go into Logic and you go into Utility and IO, and there you have a stereo IO that you can basically then select, and from here you would then go and select the one into which you want to output. And now if you don't remember, you could always go to your seed sheet and see that it was 28, 20, 27, 28, and it was 27, 28 as well. So now once configuring that, you can go over here and select 27, 28, and then the same for the input for 27, 28. I have named these, as you can name these easily, so then it's easy for you to remember. Anyway, now once you have done this, and you can also adjust the output volume, that the volume that it goes out, so that it doesn't go hot into your outboard gear. So let's take -12, maybe still a bit. So the sound is a bit more lush when it goes through that, so more spacious. And so, but here you can't actually save this in any way, but you can save a setting so that you can later on load. So you say save this as a Lexicon, for example, Lexicon MPX and 100. So now you have saved your presets. So next time when you pull an IO, you can just pull this directly. Of course, you could also do this in a bus. So you could create a bus and route things into that bus, so that it would be more meaningful for the ones that the tracks that you want to use this effect would actually be sent to bus where this external outboard gear is. But anyway, this is basically it from Logic Pro X, and how to configure external synthesizers to be easily recalled, and how to use external outboard gear. So that was Logic Pro X. Next we will hop into Studio One and do the same thing over there. Remember to subscribe for the channel for more content. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye now.